Welcome to my latest in the series of Super Terra Meets. Today, I have the great pleasure of having a conversation with BStoic Crypto. BStoic is the brains behind a number of different opportunities in crypto, including the Latin American dance-themed NFT project, Dancero, and also, for me, one of the most exciting detective stories in crypto, a quest on a magnificent scale, covering many protocols, projects, and opportunities that would ultimately give one lucky winner the keys to a fabulous treasure trove of Terra-related NFT, token, and other artifacts. It gives me great pleasure to introduce BStoic Crypto for a bit of a chat around a number of things. I think maybe just to kick off, tell me about how you came about, and obviously you and I chatted a couple of weeks ago in a non-released conversation, non-recorded conversation. It would be great to understand a bit more about the idea behind Lost Loot, and if you want to tell the listeners a bit more context around how this whole magnificent enterprise is currently going and how they can get involved.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for that amazing introduction. BStoic here, or Stoic, as many of you know me across the space now, and I've been spending a bunch of time around Terra and a lot of Discords, particularly the Stardust Union Discord, where a number of project creators, artists, and developers have come together to sort of support and encourage one another. And somewhere around there, I lost my wallet, a wallet full of NFTs and UST and all sorts of Terra goodies. And that was sort of an idea that came together in the Stardust Union, and I shared it around with a few people, and they said, we love this idea of a treasure hunt, sort of a loot-seeking scavenger hunt across Terra Space. And so as we sort of developed out that idea, a bunch of projects jumped on board, some very high-end and OG projects, and we'll drop a little alpha here shortly. But basically, we have filled up a wallet and then lost it. Theoretically, lost it in quotations. And the seed words to the wallet are spread across the Terra galaxy, the Terra universe, the Terraverse, whatever we like to call it. So all of these projects have hints. Some of them have words. Some of them have hints as to the order in which the words occur. And so someone who is paying attention, and none of these disappears. So the idea being that you can jump backwards and forwards through different projects and discover their word or their hint, and this will last for we're about a week or 10 days into it, and we're going to go for another 4 or 5 weeks still of these words being released. So cryptically, we've been having a lot of fun playing around with our own different storylines and lore and tales. So some people are putting out mathematical problems you need to solve, or putting out riddles or poems or things like that where the word exists. And so if you can track down all the words, and then you'll need to put them in order. So we'll be giving hints, and Dancero for sure is, being the project that I am a co-founder, and my project I'm working on is going to have all of the key hints. So be sure you've got some keen eyes there, but other people are dropping different hints under the hashtag Lost Loot. So basically on Twitter, if you're following the hashtag, you should be able to pretty easily keep up with who's got the latest word or hint and track them down. You might be directed to their Discord. You might find it right on their Twitter page, and you get a chance to put these words in order. The first person to do so can import the wallet, or export the wallet, I suppose, whatever term you choose to use, to their own, and empty it. So you will be the proud new owner of an NFT wallet with a Terra wallet, Terra Station wallet with between 20 and 25 NFTs. The highest value NFT in there right now, I think, is probably somewhere in the 15 to 20 Luna range. And there are a whole bunch of different creative Luna NFTs. But one of the parameters was that they be part of the collection. So there are a few one-of-ones as well that people put in for fun. But any NFT you get in there is going to be part of the official collection from that artist or that project. So you're going to be a member of the project, which is pretty awesome as well. You get to suddenly be a proud owner of all of these NFTs and a member of these different communities. It's been a lot of fun.
Excellent. Now that sounds fantastic, and I think for anyone who is lucky enough to solve that problem, they should be absolutely immersed across the Terra space because by default, in order to obtain each of those 24 words, and I'm assuming that the wallet address is somewhere hidden out there as well. All of those factors together, plus all the clue solving and all the fantastic detective work they have to do, that reward will give them a very rounded portfolio of the best of Terra, from what you're saying.
Absolutely, yeah. That's really the goal, and the wallet address will be coming from again Dancero. So as a center piece of this whole hunt and scavenger hunt, we'll be releasing some of the biggest alpha ourselves. Selfishly, but that's that's obviously the goal of a giant collaboration like this is for all of us to benefit and get awareness and eyes and become a part of a bigger community. And Terra has been so great for that. That's one of the reasons when we were looking around with the Dancero platform at where we wanted to launch our project first, Terra was the choice it came down to, and big part of that was community, the working together, the welcoming, the collaborative atmosphere. One of the big things you had in mind.
And I think that makes a lot of sense as someone who's come into the space and been fascinated by the growth of projects, opportunities, protocols, and just the general building a better future through DeFi. The sense I have overwhelmingly with as in any place, the odd bad actor, but the vast majority very well intentioned, is that everyone wants to succeed, and we want to succeed together. And I think having a project like this, and absolutely you should make sure that the primary opportunities and the juicy clues should absolutely go through Dancero, because clearly you are the brains behind a very clever and very involved collaboration. I think with that in mind, I'll perhaps signpost people to look at Dancero as a starting point, but also I would advise them to investigate something, and perhaps I can put it on the record now. I did an article only a few days ago, obviously highlighting this excellent competition, and did link in a link to the point at which you've released to the public for the first time this fantastic collaboration. Terra Spaces were the individuals interviewing you, Finn and the excellent group there, and I'll just give a quick shout out to the fantastic work that they do, not only in terms of the podcast, but also in terms of capturing pretty much anything that's happening in Terra. They're out there, they're recording the Twitter Spaces, they've done several of mine and many, many others, and they are really documenting Terra in an audio.
Yeah, those guys do a great job. Finn somehow seems to everywhere I arrive as a new arrival, every Discord channel, everything I show up at, Finn's already there.
Absolutely.
He's involved.
I do joke, do those guys ever sleep? But all I was going to say was I would point people certainly to Dancero directly, or also to a number of other sources, including that launch Terra Space's interview with your good self, BStoic Crypto, and learn more about what I think is a really fascinating collaborative treasure hunt. And I think over the next few weeks we'll hear only more and more about it. For me, I think there's a wonderful and obvious segue to talk about Dancero. If you could give me a bit more background on this project. I've had a little bit of a look around the various social channels over the last few weeks, and I know again you and I have talked sort of offline around the concepts at a high level, but it'd be great to understand, A, the motivations, B, the goals, and C, what's actually happening and what's coming next for Dancero.
For sure, absolutely, yeah. It's as we continue to work through it, we've sort of been refining what it is we think we're doing, and NFTs are a passion, for both myself and my co-founder, and we're very, we like that space, and we had a real life community, a dance community that we've been managing for the last several years, and we sort of saw the opportunity to bring the two together, which is the birth, so to speak, of Dancero. And Dancero is, the real life community is a platform whereby we connect mostly digital nomads, travelers, instructors in Colombia. We were both foreign nationals to Colombia, but married to Colombian women. The co-founder's wife is a professional dancer and professional dance instructor. The platform started in 2017 to sort of provide a one-stop shop in English, which was a common frustration for people to connect with a local dance instructor. So it's a little overused, but kind of the Uber of dance. So you arrive and we can connect you with a local dance instructor, regardless of style or location or sort of your needs. And that was the platform in Web 2 version, so to speak. And as we move towards the blockchain, obviously one of the big frustrations for us was payment processing from travelers from a number of different parts of the world who wanted to pay via credit card, via bank transfer, via whatever it might be. So, crypto was a sort of an obvious choice for how to mitigate some of those things. And then, DeFi starts to play in. But when I dial it all the way back and I think about what we're doing, we're really building a model that any real world community or business could emulate to start interacting with their community and bringing it into the sort of Web3 cryptocurrency DeFi NFT space. And so how does an NFT provide some sort of utility or value in the real world? And that's what it is in the most basic of sense, is utilizing NFT technology in a real world application. Leveraging DeFi technology, not just for DeFi degens, I'm not sure how we pronounce that, but for everybody, to bring it to people who wouldn't otherwise necessarily interact with it. And it's, when we chatted a week or two ago, and I said, every time you go to introduce someone to the crypto space, it's like this library of things you have to run them through in terms of how to get set up and how to interact and how to become a part of it. And it's daunting. So what we want to do is, we say in our white paper, we use dance as our Trojan horse, but we want to create a model for anybody within any community to use their community as the Trojan horse, the thing that people are already doing. And a Trojan horse in a positive sense, not a negative sense of we're all going to jump out and kill you. the positive sense of we're slipping it into your day-to-day life and interaction. So we have a dance community. We're already interacting with students and instructors on both sides of this transactional community. And if we can sort of drop, in a very user-friendly way, drop cryptocurrency, NFTs, and DeFi into the middle of that for their benefit on both sides, and obviously our benefit in terms of transactional value and in terms of how we manage our community, that's a pretty big win, we think, for the whole crypto and NFT space, because it's the on-off ramps, it's the utility, it's all these things that are still sort of at the edges of our grasp right now. And so we want to say, what does your community, your business, it doesn't really matter what it is. What does your sports club, do on a day-to-day basis? Do they process payments? Do they have different people on different teams? Do they have someone cheering or voting fans for one side or another? And you can, all of those things you can now bring onto the blockchain and through crypto, and you can make a model whereby your sports club can issue an NFT for your specific team, and that NFT can bring certain benefits within your club. And so it's taking it to that real day-to-day user-friendly level, versus what it is right now, which is maybe still very young and very undefined.
Absolutely, and I think with the example of sports, social clubs, and other, if you like, real world opportunities, I think what you're doing there is you're solving for, in the case of Dancero, that currency transfer bridge, which obviously is handled by crypto, but also an element of belonging, and I guess a third part is an element of gamification and reward, which the NFTs play to. So yeah, I think it's a really good fit, and I think we'll see a lot more of that type of adoption in the kind of the Web 3.0 world as time goes on. Obviously, as we're here in this sort of sharing platform and opportunity, anything particularly exciting that you'd like to kind of tease the audience about with regards to Dancero, or indeed we can always go back to the wonderful treasure hunt as well. But I think maybe starting with Dancero, if there's anything particular that's on the horizon you'd really like to sort of bring to the audience's attention.
Yeah, we're getting, I just this morning on Twitter dropped another piece of artwork. So the artwork is coming along nicely. We're very, very happy with the way that's going. One of the unique things about it is that this one is based around Medellin, where our community started. Mm-hmm. And, a piece of sort of, I guess, alpha is that one of the big things that we're planning is meetups, sponsored meetups by the platform amongst some of our NFT holders. So if you hold an NFT, we haven't worked out all the details, but depending on rarity, you'll get a number of entries into a lottery, which lottery winners would all win a trip to, again, not sure what will all be involved, but basically a dance boot camp and party and gathering for a group of the NFT holders. So that's sort of the most exciting thing that's on our mind. But the standard utility that we plan right from the beginning is access to weekly classes, access to individual instructors within your dance style, access to the dance community side of things for anyone that's interested in that. And on the flip side, on the financial side, investment opportunity and access to the transactional volume of Dancero and sort of a piece of the pie in a financial sense. So right now, the platform we have takes a cut of every transaction, just like an Uber would. So you're really buying into that platform as well. And the roadmap has a DCO token in it, a Dancero token, which will obviously be airdropped to OG and early supporters of Genesis mints at the highest level. So that's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for people who really believe in the vision on at least one of the two, if not both of the two fronts. And if we can connect people that way and have people who are excited about the community on both fronts, those will be our super fans, I suppose.
Excellent. And I think what you're creating there is a multifaceted opportunity to really engage quite deeply with the Dancero project community, and also really acting as a gateway for probably a range of individuals that wouldn't perhaps have otherwise come into the crypto space. So I think there's a lot of things that you are creating there, and clearly I'm making the assumption here, although obviously it started in one part of the world, this absolutely gives you the potential to be a global dance-related network as well, which I think is absolutely fascinating, and I wish you every success with that. And I think, given the growth and awareness that I'm seeing within the space of Dancero and other new communities, I think it's only a matter of time that becomes more broadly known.
Yeah, I mean, Latin America for us is a huge opportunity, obviously, with the sort of just the demographic, large unbanked demographic on the banking side of crypto, a large, culturally, big cultural connections in terms of dance and music. But yeah, scalability is forefront in our minds with everything we build, and the idea is certainly that it won't be geographically confined in any way. So we'll be looking for people who are dance enthusiasts from all parts of the world and all types of dance, and looking for community members who want to build out different aspects, different cities, different styles of dance, and increase the volume of the platform that way. So we're lucky to have a model that exists that we can build on top of, but certainly have plans and visions of that expanding exponentially.
Excellent. I'm very excited to see how the project develops. I have one more interesting area to delve into, something that you and I discovered we have in common, and that is a love, obviously, of NFTs, but one particular project that seems to have captured us both, and I think we are both part of a small niche sub-community of owners of the LunaBulls project, tremendous fast-growing early Terra NFT release. There are a range of different societies, and I'm actually in the process of writing a detailed piece around the growth of those sub-communities, one of which that you and I find ourselves both in is, and it's quite apt given that as at time of recording, the NFC and AFC championship games are taking place today. And the big focus for me is not just on the teams, but on those that make the game possible, the officials, and the particular group who have been christened the Zebras, as we know them from affectionately from a US sports perspective, the officials, the umpires, the referees. But of course, in the case of the Bulls, they have, as they have with many other things, the variety of different costumes and clubs is amazing, but the Zebra Bulls. So it's great to talk to a fellow Zebra Bull owner. I mean, what do you think, actually, on a sort of semi-serious note, about the way these subgroups and societies are forming in Terra?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm most involved in Terra right now, so I don't know what's happening on other chains and in other communities, but I'm certainly seeing it on Terra, the sort of the sub-DAOs, based, you see the Iced Out Bulls being one of the bigger ones in Terra, and yourself and I, as you say, we found out early on that we were both Zebra Bull holders, and I'm a longtime sports official for both ice hockey and basketball. And so when I saw the bull with the referee's shirt on, I kind of identified as, oh, it's interesting. I haven't seen that in any other NFTs. So I picked up a couple of those early on. And then, you and I somehow stumbled across the fact that we were both owners, and slowly a small community has, very, very niche community has developed around the Zebra Bulls, which is great, because sometimes it's of interest to have people, to speak with people who have a similar interest for some reason. And we very much hope to develop that with the Dancero program, with types of styles of dance, right? If you enjoy a specific style of dance, you can very quickly create a niche around, and a community, and a tight-knit community around that. And so for the idea of the sub-DAOs, I think is interesting. It's sort of the natural next step, I suppose, that communities break down into smaller communities. Whether it's fandoms or anything in real life, and then in NFTs you have a LunaBulls or Galactic Punks community, and then the smaller communities break out amongst them. I guess whether it will be used for good or evil, so to speak, will be dependent on the group and how they see fit to do all sorts of things, from voting to owning and holding, to the benefits you might receive from being within that subgroup. So I think it's all fun, and it's all part of sort of the natural development of what we're seeing in the NFT space, right? I mean, the top level, the difference between being a Galactic Punks holder or a LunaBulls holder or a Dancero NFT holder is that you're part of a community, right? And now we've subdivided that community into smaller groups, some based on exclusivity, some based on common interests, some based on whatever else it might be, just the same way we do in our day-to-day society. We join teams and groups and book clubs and knitting circles and whatever it might be. So that, I think, is very similar to how we interact as people in real life in a digital format. So it's of interest, and I like it. I like the idea of some of the camaraderie, and then on the sports and the official side, for me, for certain, that was just a unique outfit that I hadn't seen anywhere else.
Absolutely, and they caught my eye, because I'm involved in amateur sport as well. I think, as we've said, obviously, on previous conversations that we've had, for me, I like the fun element as well. I think there's an element of identifying with some of the NFT costumes. I think I have to say, I've said this on a number of occasions, like LunaBulls, what they're doing is excellent. I think it is very inclusive, and we mentioned the Iced Outs. Yes, they're a very exclusive group, but they're not exclusive to the point of excluding, in the sense that they will still very much be, the standard bearers for other parts of the Bulls community. And certainly I've seen some very positive, supportive comments around, the various other groups, the Colosseum Bulls, who have the Caesar type outfits, which look very cool. And the latest one, and I have one just by chance, is a T-shirt Bulls. There's a gentleman who reached out to me because I put something on Twitter a couple of weeks ago about one of my bulls, and realised, actually, oh, hang on, I've got a T-shirt bull. And I think on the Zebras front, I've been chatting to some of the guys involved there, and it's a niche group, but they have planned and are involving me in a potentially very exciting, and it won't be a large one, a small collaboration with a very innovative project. So I think as Zebra Bull owners, we will benefit from what should be a really fun activity. I imagine, based on the conversations I've had, they'll be happening in sort of 3 to 4 weeks' time. So I think that for me is exciting. It's almost, I think, going back to how it all works. For me, I think the sub communities are, in my case, I view them as great fun. I think there are some quite clever commercial opportunities as people almost mobilize around the NFT, and I think it relates in many ways to things I've seen in other more mature chains when it comes to NFTs. So the famous Bored Apes. Obviously, I have my own bugbear in that I often see them quoted for free giveaways, which there's no one in their right mind would ever do that. So please ignore those giveaways. They are all fake. There are some excellent and very real giveaways in Terra, as we both know. I've been the recipient and indeed the organizer of several of those, and they're great fun. But I guess what I'm going to say about Bored Apes, CryptoPunks and others is they really have formed some very powerful communities, and they in themselves then add utility and value to the NFT itself. And I think coming right back to Dancero, as you rightly said, people will identify with certain styles of dance, and they will potentially coalesce around that, if you like, sub-community as part of the Dancero world. And I think these sorts of things are only positive for greater adoption, as people want to be part of a friendly community that speaks to their interests. So I think all of that is really, really positive. I guess for me, sort of to start to round things up, it would be great to get probably two things. One, any more kind of hints around where we might want to be casting our eyes over the next few days and weeks. Obviously, I'm not expecting any major reveals, but in terms of the lost loot. And finally, your thoughts on where you see and I like to ask this on all of my sessions, where you see the Terra Space in, let's say, 6 months' time.
Yeah, let's go with lost loot first. The one thing I want to say about that is it sounds a little complicated. I don't want to scare anyone off. I'm not a technical person in this space, and the goal of this contest is for it to be relatively easy. So the words are going to be words before long, even if they're currently a hint, and everyone's on board with getting this stuff out there and having it be fun and interactive and quote-unquote simple, but simple. You're collecting words for a wallet, and anyone could really win, and it will be winner takes all, unless two people happen to get it at very similar times and be attempting to basically import and empty the wallet as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also a possibility. But don't be scared away by the fact that there might be a riddle or a math problem. Before the end of the contest, those words will all be made obvious and available as well. So right now it's a lot of fun, and people are riffing sort of on their own communities and their own stuff. But I will tell you that in the relatively near future, you can be looking for a friendly community validator, which I think you might have already dropped a hint on there, Super Terra,
Mm-hmm.
which in that sense. We'll be doing some racing. We'll be getting fingerprinted. We might get a little bit unstable at times, and we will be playing around in space. There'll be some angels involved, at least one planet, and some dragons, all sorts of things coming up. But keeping the best in the bag.
Fantastic.
Well, keeping the cat in the bag.
That's brilliant. You've actually created a beautiful riddle. I'm sure people will be playing this back later to capture that brilliant couple of minutes of strong hints. That was fantastic. I think I'd love to invite you back for a further chat, perhaps around the time that the wallet is emptied, or even post that, just to get a reflection on what I think is a monumental and very exciting undertaking, and one that I'm thoroughly enjoying being, even if only in a small way, involved with. And I guess I did tease you with a last question around kind of where Terra will be in the next 6 months. No pressure to answer. I just love to hear people's thoughts on where the space is going.
it's 6 months, man. I think back 6 months, and I just, I go, holy smokes, the places in the last 6 months, the space has taken me personally and everybody on these roller coaster rides of sort of boom and bust and growth. But I think in the 6 month window in crypto, we're still on an upswing for me. Crypto growth and adoption and use cases and utility are all finding their way into the mainstream and into day-to-day life. There will be fads, and there will be winters, and there will be downturns, and there will be projects that explode and crash and go away completely, and others that come out of nowhere that we haven't even heard of yet. To pin something down for the Terra Space would be pretty difficult. From what I've seen, there's a great group of artists, there's a great group of developers, there's a strong team at TFL that's growing day by day, and the things that they're doing seem very promising. So I'd say in 6 months we're in for some excitement, probably a little bit of heartbreak, and it's going to be a very generic answer. But I hope that we're still running contests. I know that Dancero will be well into the launch for our NFT mint will be long launched, and our platform will be up and running. We'll be processing transactions on the blockchain by then, I'm quite certain. So that will be of significant interest to us and to any of our holders as that starts to churn. So 6 months is going to be an exciting 6 months, and I don't see you never know. We've been through the bear markets, but the crypto space isn't going anywhere. The builders aren't going anywhere. Mm-hmm. The utility and use cases are only growing day by day. So I think it's going to be a fun and exciting 6 months from our point of view.
I tend to agree. I always think it's both a wonderful and a cruel question, because it makes you reflect and realise just how quickly this space evolves. And I often blink, and I guess one little fact to throw out before the end of this from my side, the very first mints of NFTs in Terra had not happened 6 months ago. So I think that shows you how fast this space moves. It really is. It really is fascinating. Yeah, that is.
It's unbelievable to think that, and now we've got hundreds popping up, and I can't turn my eyes fast enough, and it's a bit of jump up and down in the sea of noise, but it's also a lot of fun, and there's lots of opportunities for creative people to collaborate in different ways and share and build and move around the space. So it's really cool, and that's just Terra.
Absolutely. It is amazing. And actually, you've made a really good point there. We're just one of many chains, and there's a lot of innovation all around the crypto space. And it's a fascinating and exciting time to be in this whole sector. And I think even just trying to keep track from my side on developments in Terra NFTs is a nigh on impossible task, because there are so many things happening every single day. And I think you and I joked on a previous call, I personally am in over 99 Discords. It turns out that is a limit. I've had to delete some of my access to some of the early ones I joined, and I won't say which projects they are, but they no longer are active. Because basically, as more and more come on, all of those Discords, by the way, are Terra Discords. That gives you an idea of just how many different projects, communities, and sub-communities there are. I think it's testament to the likes of Finn and the guys in Terra Space that they're able to keep on top of all of this. It is quite astonishing. I think for me, it's been an absolute pleasure, as it was when we spoke previously in a more sort of unrecorded but equally open chat. I'm excited, and I wish you well, and look forward to seeing how things develop, both with the extremely exciting Lost Loot opportunity, the Dancero project, and more broadly how the growth of the Terra Space continues. So I wish you well, and look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here, and thank you for having me on, and for the article on Loop, and which Discord server you have to delete so you can join up to the Dancero Discord here very shortly.
It's fair to say I absolutely will. Well, on that note, we'll wrap things up, and I wish you well.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. Great to chat again. Talk soon.
Absolutely. Cheers.